Assalamu alaikum, my dear viewers and all my friends. Today we are again meeting with a new video. In our previous video, we have seen some verses from the longest chapter from the Holy Quran, that is Surah Baqara, which consists of 286 verses. Now, in our previous video, we have seen some verses from this chapter, and in that we have seen the discussion was going on about the hypocrites. In the previous verses, we have seen that the hypocrites claim that we believe on the Almighty and the Day of Judgment. But the Almighty says they actually do not believe. They are only telling the lies. And they think that by doing like this, they are cheating and deceiving the Almighty and the believers. But the Almighty says, in fact, they are deceiving and cheating their own self. But they do not pursue this thing. Because the Almighty says it is a kind of disease in their hearts, which the Almighty has increased, and they wander blindly. And these people have involved themselves in such commerce in which they have purchased the string for guidance. And that's why this commerce will never benefit them, and they will never become the guided ones. And one of the example of hypocrites we have seen in verse number 17. The Almighty says that, like, the example of hypocrite is like a person who has lit a fire, and that fire has lit everything around it. So actually here, whatever the truths of Islam are there and the right path is there, so it is compared to the fire. And that true path and the path of guidance was revealed on the hypocrites, but then also due to their obstinacy, these people have refused to accept Islam, and they showed hypocrisy. And that's why what happened afterwards, the Almighty has taken away their this light, and now they can't see anything, or they will never get the guidance now, because the door of guidance is forever closed for hypocrites. And now they are like the deaf people, dumb people, and the blind people. And the Almighty says they will never return to the right path. After that, in verse number 19, we have seen one more example of the hypocrites. Actually, whatever the truths of Islam and the right path is there, it is compared to the rainstorm, which falls on all the people from the sky. And whatever these people disbelieve, or they believe in the partners with the Almighty or rivals with the Almighty, so that is compared to the lightning, or we can say that is compared to the that is compared to the darkness. And whatever God has uh, given the warnings and threatened about different torments for the disbelievers. So that is compared to the thunderstorm or thunder, sound of the lightning. And then whatever the uh, those people who believe in everything, and for them the Allah has promised the Jannah. So that is compared with the lightning. And then it is said that these people think that whenever the warnings are given, so they put their fingers into their ears and they think that they will be saved from the torment in this life by doing like this. But actually the Almighty says they fail to realize that the torment of the life hereafter is very much worse and more than the torment in this life. And then after that, in the here now if we see the verse number 21 and 22, one more thing is told in verse number 19, that these people, hypocrites, what they do, whenever they understand the truths of Islam, so they get inclined towards Islam and they try to follow Islam. But when they remember their worldly benefits and their materialistic goals, so then they run away from the truth and they run away from Islam. Means when this light of Islam falls on them, so they start walking. Means they follow it. But when they realize that this will harm them in this life, or they will not benefit them in this life, so they walk away or they stop there. They stop following Islam. And then after that, now in this verse number 21, if we see, so the Almighty says that, O mankind, worship your Lord, who created you also and who created the people before you also, so that you may become pious. Means the purpose of creation is highlighted here. And then after that, if we see in the next verse, it is said that the Almighty has sent down on the earth a rainfall from the sky, and also He has made the earth the resting place for the people and the sky as the canopy. And whatever rainfall is sent down by the Almighty, so due to that rainfall, what happens? The crops grow due to that on the earth. Whatever the food grains, vegetables, fruits are needed for our survival. So we get those things from that. And then at last the Almighty says, do not set up rivals or partners with the Almighty, because He was one, He is the one, and He will always be one only. So in this way we have seen the ideas which are given here. Now the next verses we will see in the next video. Today we will stop here. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.